In the last week of August, FBI agents discovered an item of interest in Bardstown dig that could be related to the Crystal Rogers missing persons case. Crystal Rogers, a mother of 5, disappeared on July 3rd, 2015. 2 days later, her car was found on the Bluegrass Parkway with a flat tire and her purse, keys, and phone inside. While Rogers' disappearance is classified as a missing persons case, detectives have been treating it like a homicide investigation. The father of Rogers' child and boyfriend at the time, Brooks Hawk, was named the main suspect in the case 3 months after she was last seen. Authorities report that Brooks Hawk does remain a person of interest, as he was the last person to see Rogers alive. He has denied having anything to do with her disappearance, and now has sole custody of the child he had with Rogers. The Ballard family was very vocal about their suspicion of Brooks Hawk's having some sort of involvement in Rogers' disappearance early on in the case. In an interview, Crystal's sister said Brooks has not offered once to search or help or do anything for the family. July 8th, Hawk was brought in by the Nelson County Sheriff's Office for questioning. Nick Hawk, Brooks' brother, and also a Bardstown police officer, called mid-interview and told him not to speak with police. The next day, Nick was called to testify in front of a grand jury, which led police to suspect he also had involvement in the disappearance. It is at this time that Nick stopped cooperating with the sheriff's office. However, he agreed to a polygraph test after being interviewed by the Kentucky State Police. Nick finally took a polygraph test on July 20th after being contacted by FBI. The examiner expressed, quote, grave concerns about the results with the Bardstown Police Chief, McCubbin. On October 16, 2015, Nick was fired from the Bardstown Police Department, and Brooks was officially named a suspect in the case. In December of 2015, the Sheriff's Department announced that Danny Singleton, who they say worked for Brooks Hawk, was indicted of 38 counts of perjury. Brooks Hawk had been named as a suspect in the disappearance of Crystal Rogers, and according to the Post, Singleton's perjury was allegedly committed when he previously gave testimony to a grand jury. A white Buick became an important piece of evidence when a private investigator found that one was parked at the Hawk farm the night Rogers disappeared. The Hawk brothers' grandmother, Anna Whitesides, owned a white Buick, but had sold it several weeks after Rogers went missing. Authorities issued a subpoena for the 82-year-old to testify in front of a grand jury. The subpoena stated the car may have been used to dispose of a body, cleaned and sold in an attempt to prevent evidence from being discovered. Whitesides refused to testify in front of the grand jury. Attorney Jason Floyd said her statement to police and the car buyer's information was enough. A judge later ruled to keep all future proceedings in applying Whitesides' confidentiality. In August of 2016, police searched the residence of the Whitesides and Nick Hawk for DNA. Despite multiple search effects and a $100,000 reward being offered for any information, Rogers remains missing. In researching cases, there's often very, very disturbing details that don't leave me. And one of them is actually in the Crystal Rogers disappearance case. It was 3 days after Sherry Ballard family and friends gathered for a 2-year anniversary of Crystal's disappearance when Ballard learned someone had been taking and destroying signs seeking information about her daughter's mysterious disappearance. On July the 8th, someone had took a bunch of signs, broke them in half, and threw them on the ground, she said. Just to find out the signs are being taken out. It's very disrespectful to my daughter. The Nelson County Sheriff's Office confirmed deputies arrested Crystal Maupin Friday for unlawfully taking. WHAS 11 has seen surveillance video that appears to show a woman that Ballard says investigators identified as Maupin taking a sign placed outside the gas station and driving away. People close to the situation said Maupin is Brooke Hawks' girlfriend. And if that's hard to believe, it was just a year before, April 21st, 2014, the bodies of Kathy and Samantha Netherland were found inside their Nelson County home. Channel 3 News went on to report that it has been 7 years since mother and daughter were brutally murdered in Nelson County in the small county of Botland. The person or persons who killed them is still on the loose. Kathy Netherland, 48, and her daughter Samantha, 16, were killed inside the home on April 21st, 2014. Their bodies were discovered by a family member. Samantha Netherland was a sophomore at Bardstown High School. Kathy Netherland taught special education at Bardstown Elementary School. The one piece of evidence the state police detectives are still relying on is a photo of a black Chevy Impala that might have been at the Netherlands' house the day of the murders. We feel like the Impala is a central part of the investigation. As we have said since day one, KSP spokesman Scotty Sharp said, "We continue to look for that black Impala." The Impala was captured on a camera a half mile from the Netherland home, driving past a Marathon gas station on US 50. And the year before that, in 2013, Jason Ellis, a police officer, was also killed. The police officer was Jason Ellis, who was found unresponsive in the middle of the road after a night shift in 2013. Ellis was murdered while on his way home late one night, in the first in a series of unsolved cases in the small town of Bardstown, Kentucky. While police have yet to solve Ellis's murder, the FBI added his case to its task force website after taking lead on the Crystal Rogers investigation. Ellis worked nights on the force with his canine partner, Figo, dedicated to taking drugs off the street. He was even awarded Officer of the Year in 2007, working hard to help his adopted home. Jason Ellis went through his normal routine. He called Amy, his wife, to say goodnight, took a suspect to jail, and left the Bardstown police town around 2 a.m. Taking his nightly route home, Ellis drove down the desolate Bluegrass Parkway and winded around exit 34 until something stopped him in his tracks, tree limbs blocking the road. Police believe Ellis got out of his car to move the tree limbs when someone shot him in the stomach multiple times. Passerby found Ellis unresponsive in the middle of the road, calling 911. They told the operator there was a police car sitting in the middle of the road near a tree across the road. We didn't know what it was. It was a tree across the road, and I didn't know what it was, and I got out and I went up and looked, and it's him, the caller said. No, sir, he is not breathing. The body temperature is cold. Rick McCubbin got the call from Nelson County Dispatch a little before 3 a.m. He says, I remember asking dispatch, I said, well, how bad is he? When McCubbin asked what happened, no one had answers. There were no dash or body cams. The road was quiet and dark. I said, well, what the hell happened? And I remembered them saying, I don't know, McCubbin said. What do you mean you don't know? And they said, we don't know. The investigators eventually determined that Ellis was ambushed. His killer strategically placed debris on the path they knew he took to lure him out of his patrol car. FBI has a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of those responsible for Jason Ellis's death. Anyone with information could be useful to the case is asked to call 1-800-CALL-FBI. That applies to any of these cases. As with all cases that I investigate with you, there are those what are the chance moments. And we have that because this is so sad. After Roger's disappearance, her father, Tommy Ballard, is murdered. Yes, you heard me right. On the morning of November 19, 2016, 16 months after Roger disappears, her 54-year-old father, Tommy Ballard, was shot to death. He had been hunting on private property with his 12-year-old grandson, Roger's eldest son. He had been shot once in the chest. Police did clear the grandson of foul play and have also ruled out suicide, as Tommy's gun was never fired. And if things couldn't get more mysterious, Roger's actual aunt disappeared as well in 1979. Frida Shireen Sherry Ballard went missing from Bardstown, according to the Kentucky Standard. The 19-year-old was over 7 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance, and her remains weren't found until August of 1983. They were discovered on a farm close to where Roger's car was found. Her estranged husband, Eddie Barnes, and another man, George Wire, were eventually convicted and sentenced to life in prison for her murder. The latest update was September 2nd, 2021, by a local news that stated, Rogers has been missing more than 6 years. She is presumed dead. Years of investigation from the Nelson County Sheriff's Office, Kentucky State Police, and more recently the FBI have yet to result in arrests or finding her remains. Her family, including her grandfather, Till Ballard, and her mother, Sherry Ballard, at least wants to know what happened to her. Quote, from day one, I never thought my daughter was coming home, Ballard said. Never. I just knew she wasn't. The day I reported her missing, I knew that minute that something bad was wrong. Family members hoped they would get answers when the FBI started a new search for evidence in her case. Investigators showed up in the Woodland Springs subdivision in Bardstown on August 24, 2021, and began looking for, quote, any evidence they could find. They focused on multiple houses before eventually dug up the front yard and a driveway at one property on North Howard Street. Large trucks were seen hauling dirt and mud away day after day. A security checkpoint was set up on Freeman Avenue, the only way to access North and South Howard Streets, which are both dead-end roads. The FBI returned to the subdivision every day before suspending the search on Monday due to bad weather. The agency planned to resume the search once the weather improves. Multiple items of interest, potentially relevant to Roger's disappearance, have been found and are currently being analyzed. The FBI said Monday without providing details. I send wishes of strength and blessings and comfort to the family and condolences if that is the end result. I also hope deeply that there is resolution as soon as possible with Crystal, a mother of 5, that to this day we don't know what happened. But we have the FBI now digging up something that could be directly related. In fact, just maybe, they have found Crystal. I love you guys to the moon and back. I appreciate all the help. Everybody jumping on board to help find and share the information on these missing people. Our job basically is to keep their memory alive, so that maybe they would be recognized, or maybe some clue will come forward, or maybe somebody will come up and speak about it. Anyway, you guys are doing a great job. I also want to say thank you to all of you that support my channel in any way that you do, whether you share it, like it, whatever you do. I love the comments. I read every single one. If I feel drawn to comment, I do so. There are other times I just resonate with you. I'll give you a thumbs up, or the thumbs up can be that I read your message and I appreciate your opinion. Doesn't mean I always agree. All right. Feel free to hit me up and let me know if we need our attention directed at any other cases. I always appreciate that. With that, I love you to the moon and back. God bless you.